we need to have a conversation about The Boys. As you guys know, I've been watching and talking about The Boys lately, and I've loved it so far, at least. And for this season, to be completely honest, I didn't like this season. So this will be more of a rant rather than a review, cause I have some things to get off my chest. First and foremost, let's talk about the characters. Cause damn, it's fucking hard to say positive things about a lot of the characters here in this season. Let's start off with the good things. Homelander is still really good. He definitely carried this season for me. Without him, this season would be much worse than it already is. Never did I thought while watching this show that there would be a full season that A-Train is the second best character, cause he is in season 4. And it's because apart from Homelander and Butcher, I feel like A-Train has the only proper character progression in this whole show. And in season 4, it finally paid off. And shock, it was fucking good. Butcher is decent this season. Glad that he's showing signs that he's changing, although it completely got ruined in the ending, but I'll get to that later. Yui is weird because sometimes he's a standout character and sometimes he's not. Season 1, standout. Season 2, not really. Season 3, standout. And in season 4, he's also not a standout character, though his scene with his dad was great. I did tear up in the scene. Also, his scene with freaky ass Batman was just unnecessary. Where did Starlight go in this season, by the way? Because the Starlight in this season wasn't the one I liked from season 1 to 3. To put it bluntly, I think Starlight was pretty bad this season. One, because she doesn't really get anything to work with this season, cause her whole story this season was about her ties with Firecracker. And that story is so bad and uninteresting. Every time both of them was on screen, I found myself watching just to watch. Starlight's story here just feels so unauthentic. It's like the writers couldn't think of anything for Starlight to do in this season, so they just settled with this High School Musical-ass conflict between Starlight and Firecracker. And it also doesn't help that Firecracker is so annoying. She's fire though, pun intended. And when they finally introduce an interesting plot for Starlight, when the shapeshifter kidnapped her and pretended to be Starlight, they just solved that much better and more interesting conflict for Starlight's character in 1 to 2 episodes. And another thing, Starlight made a very stupid and uncharacteristic decision to assault Firecracker live on TV. Like, what? You're telling me the very same Starlight that stayed somewhat level-headed after all the things she went through in season 1 to 3 cracked like that? Like, be for real, like that? Like, I'm not even against fucking up Firecracker shit. It's just at least wait until she's not on live TV so you don't get caught on 4K. And I feel like if this happened in Starlight in season 1 to 3, she definitely would still have stomped her shit out. But I think she would have waited after the live to do it. So yeah, I feel like that decision was a very unlike Starlight move that makes her already bad character this season go even worse. And as you can tell, Starlight's character really affected my enjoyment for this season with how uninteresting it was. Also, since she's one of the main characters, they spend so much time on it, making it worse. Add on to the fact that through season 1 to 3, she was in my top 3 favorite character. Making her part this bad added to the many reasons I didn't like this season. Frenchie, Kimiko, and MM are still the most likable character, although MM doesn't really get to do anything in this season. I guess that's just MM's character as a whole. He doesn't really do much. He just stays within his lane, and that's why he's so likable. His character has no risk, no downside. You could even say bland. Contrary, Frenchie and Kimiko are still both good, but they could have been amazing if only they didn't fall into this show's second worst attribute. I'll talk about the first later. That being wasting all their build-up by either resolving the climax of said build-up or just abandoning a build-up or teasing a build-up but never going through with it. Frenchie and Kimiko both fell victim to this terrible trait. Frenchie throughout this whole season had a great internal psychological battle, and the climax to that story was supposed to be him turning himself in for all the crimes he has committed, but that just got completely ruined by him getting out of prison after what, 1-2 episodes? And that wouldn't even be a problem if after he got out there was a change in his mindset and in what he's doing. But no, there's absolutely zero change. He still feels the same way about himself, and he's still doing all the things that caused him to have an internal battle, leading to him turning himself in, therefore nullifying all that fucking build-up and all that story. And with Kimiko, we have been getting bits and pieces of her backstory for season 1 to 3, and finally in season 4 it looked like we're finally getting to it, just for it to be a fucking tease, just for them to not go through with it. And I know we'll probably get more in the next season, but still, not having essentially one of the main characters' backstory laid out for the final season is insane. And also knowing that we probably only have 8 episodes left of this show, I doubt that we'll actually delve deep into her story, which is a fucking shame since Kimiko has the most intriguing story out of all the characters we have in this show except Homelander. Another character that fell victim to the trait I said earlier is Newman. They had so much build up for her character, and not even just that, but her relationship with Yui. They had so much there just for it to be cut in half. Another potentially good story ruined. And now that we got to the ending of the season, let's talk about the horrendous final episode. Butcher going 180, reverting back into his season 1 Butcher, killing Newman, ruining all his character build-up throughout the whole fucking show was one thing. Although I can kind of forgive Butcher for doing that 180, since there's more to Butcher's character than that. He's more complex, so I get it. No, I don't. Yes, I get it. No, I don't. Yes, I definitely get it. Look, I am hitting the strongest copium. Guys, I'm trying. I'm fucking trying. But Sister Sage turning around and saying it was all part of her plans was the nail in the coffin for me in that final episode. And in this whole season, we didn't even get a light L. Eisen Lelouch type of explanation after her plan came into fruition. It just fucking happened. And for being the smartest person in the world, that has to be the stupidest way to win. And it's not stupid as in dumb, it's just stupid. Girl is supposedly the smartest and she pulled a fucking Drake. We fed you the information. Shut up! Get out! It's just such a cheap way of executing that it's all part of my plan move. Honestly, that part of the final episode actually shocked by how annoyingly shit it was. And finally, let's get to the thing I said at the start of the video. Guys, The Boys has a huge problem, and it's a problem that is also the reason as to why this show is as big as it is and as good as it has become prior to this season. That being its shock factor. The very thing that made this show popular has become a double-edged sword, since this show lives and dies with its shock value. And there's only so much shock value that you can have where that value becomes a hindrance and leave some people asking, what else can you give me? Like, I feel like there's so many great plot lines and character plot that they just went the other way just to keep people on their toes, even though the other option was much beneficial and overall better. Let me give you the biggest examples of this problem that I can think of. Butcher's whole character, in one episode he shows signs of changing, then the very next episode he's back to his old self, making you think they're taking the story to a different path just to go right back to its original path, creating shock. Soulja Boy's story in season 3 is the the same, make you think they're going one way just to hit a mean crossover, breaking your ankles, generating the whoa moment. But in doing so, wasting so much build-up that the build-up pretty much become pointless. Go watch my season 3 video to get my full thoughts on Soulja Boy's wasted character. They also did it with Newman's character. They finally finished their Newman on the good side build-up, because if you didn't realize, they've been subtly building this up for 2 seasons now, and they just completely destroyed that by killing her off, producing probably the biggest shock of the season, and will probably what people will remember when they think of season 4. But it also killed up so many good possible plotline again. And also, I feel like they just killed her off because this show also has a problem of stubbornly not wanting for heroes or people with power to be good. And to that, you might say, that's the whole point of the show. And I'll say, if that's the point, then why do we have Starlight and Kimiko on our side? If that's actually the point of the show, then Kimiko and Starlight shouldn't have powers or be heroes or be on our side, since it's kind of fucking hard to paint a picture of all heroes are bad or all powers are bad when we have 2 glaring, shining people that contradicts that picture. And to that, you might say, well, that's the point. It's supposed to have nuances. Not all heroes are bad and not all heroes are good. And to that, I'll say, if that's the case, then why do we only have 2, maybe 3 good heroes? Kimiko, Starlight, and maybe A-Train? If that's the point, then where are the other good heroes? The percentage is way too one-sided for that to be the case. So, I don't know. If you guys have answers as to why they keep wasting potentially good plotlines and the point of the build-ups in this show when most just get ruined by shock. Anyways, so what's the point of all the build-up? And also, why do we have no good heroes? If you have answers to all my questions or critique, then please be my guest. Comment down below. And that's pretty much all I wanted to say for this season of The Boys. A lot of my problems and critique for this season aren't original to this season alone. In fact, most of them also existed in season 3, and some of them have existed since season 2. It's just season 4 is the slowest season of The Boys, and with it being slow paced, you have more time to actually examine what's going on. And if it's good, you really get to examine the good. And if it's bad, and unfortunately this season is in that area, you really get to examine the bad. So yeah, I think The Boys would massively benefit from regaining season 1 to 3's pacing so that the bad doesn't really get highlighted. And before I go, I want to make a prediction for the final season. They said that the vial will kill all soups. What I think will happen, and frankly I think it would be the better choice, is that the vial will remove all powers, so every soup would turn back into a regular human. I think that is going to happen, and I believe that should be the most obvious route to take the ending. And who am I kidding? Making prediction and shit, they'll most probably just take the most shocking route in the ending, and that will be that all soup dies. And that's it for me. If you like and agree with some of my points in the video, leave a like on the video and comment down below if you have any answers to my questions or my critiques. And while you're down there, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. For me, do it for me. And once again, it's just my phantom thoughts. Honestly, I agree with Homelander. I kinda want Homelander to kill all these dudes, cause holy, these dudes suck.